It's your boy, Quez, yo. What's up, YouTube? You know who it is. It's your boy, Quez, yo. Today I'm here with
Mark Spears.
And today he's playing like a unique deck. It can OTK you like nothing else. Yeah, so most of the time he do want to go second, so he can just destroy and break boards, literally, and just OTK you. That's his deck thing. So right before you get to the video, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button. And if y'all like this video, we'll show a combo video on the next video. So make sure you smash the like button for me. And let's get right to the deck profile.
Alright everybody, so for people new to cubics, basically what you do in this deck is you dump your spell and traps, and they have really insane effects that let you summon a lot of dudes and put a lot of damage on board. So to start off with the deck profile, for the cubic section, we've got 3 Duza, the cubic vessel. What he does is when he's summoned, he sends a cubic speller trap from deck to grave, which there's a spell that lets you search a monster. So this is basically kind of like a rota for the deck. He also has another effect where if a monster left the field while he was face up, you can trigger his effect, which is a quick effect. And he gains 200 attack for each monster in your grave with a different name. So these can get up to like 3,000-4,000 pretty easily. Alright, next we have the Gene, the Cubic Seed. This guy is really important for some of the spell and traps. What he does is whenever he battles, he can't die by the battle, and after the battle, you can place a cubic counter on an opponent's monster, and what that does is it makes the opponent's monster lose any effect it has, and it cannot attack. That's what a cubic counter does. So. Next we have the big boss monster for the deck, called Crimson Nova, the Dark Cubic Lord. This guy is unaffected by all monster effects that are 3,000 or less. So you can't bore load it, you can't switch it with many other things, you can't pop it, you can't send it with like Eldritch the Golden Lord. It is really, really hard to get rid of, outside of like spell and trap removal. So this guy's really good. What he does is whenever he battles a monster, if he kills it, he can make a second attack that battle phase. It doesn't have to be in a row. And whenever that happens, you can just deal 3,000, or if he's pumped up to like 6,000 or whatever, you deal extra damage. And also on the end phase, while you control him, you can deal 3,000 damage to both players. And he's super easy to summon. All you have to do is reveal 3 cubic cards in your hand that have different names to summon him out. Okay, next we have Buster Gundill and Endura Doomvolt. These both have the same idea in the deck. So you have to send 3 face-up cubic monsters to the grave to summon them out. When this guy's summoned, he gains like 2,400 attack, and that's it. When this guy's summoned, he gains 3,000 attack and can attack 3 times that battle phase though. So this guy is good if you hard draw it. This one not so much. The only reason you use them is there's a trap card in the deck that lets you ignore summoning conditions and summon them out of deck. And then you can crash them in, because whenever either of these are sent to the grave by your opponent's card, or whether it's battle or card effect, you revive 3 cubic cards in your 3 cubic monsters in your grave and search your deck for a cubic monster. So these are really, really good for like defense. And the last one is Guerra Golde, the Dark Cubic, or the Cubic King. He's just there because sometimes you have to send the Duza off the field to trigger some of the trap cards. And you send 1 cubic, summon him. When he's summoned, he gains 800 attack and your opponent takes 800. If he is sent to the grave, then you can revive 2 Vajam, the Cubic Seeds in your grave. So, okay. That's it for the cubic monsters. On to the cubic spells. We have 3 cubic Karma. This card is crazy. So when you activate it, it goes face up in your spell and trap zone. It's continuous. You send up to 3 Vajim the Cubic Seeds from your deck to the grave, and whenever you do, your monster you target, a cubic, gains 800 attack for each seed sent. So if you do it to, like, if you do it to this big guy here, he goes to 5,400 attack. And then he can attack, and if he kills something, you attack again. And then the end phase he burns. So you can see how it gets pretty easy to OTK in this deck. This card also has another effect where if you summon Vajam the Cubic Seed on your opponent's turn, while this is face up, you half your opponent's life points. And that's done by any of these things dying, because they can revive Vajam. Or the trap cards can also summon Vajam too. So that's that. Cubic Wave. So what this card does is you target a monster your opponent controls, you half its attack, and you double the attack of a cubic monster. So you can like double the big guy to 6,000, or if you've karmed it to 54, you double it to like 10.8k. And its other effect in the grave is you can banish it and any amount of cubic monsters out of your graveyard from play, and place cubic counters on all monsters your opponent controls up to the number of cubic monsters that you banished. So this is really an easy way to play around like Appaloosa, or force out like an IP play, or I mean easy to play around Dragoon and stuff. This is what lets you get around effect monsters and really just OTK somebody. Then we have cubic Dharma. So for all these previous cubic cards that we've went through, none of them are once per turn. This card is new. It's at a dual overload. And what it does is you can send a cubic card from your hand to the grave, and you can draw a card. And that is once per turn, as well as its other effect, which is you can banish it from the graveyard and add a cubic monster from your graveyard to your hand. So this one's really good, but it's not once per turn, unlike all the other cubic cards. Next, for cubic cards, we have the backbone of the deck that starts almost every combo off. It is Unification of the Cubic Lords. So while its on field effect is you can fusion summon Trinity Nova the Dark Cubic King using cubic monsters in your hand or that you control as materials. That's not really relevant because you don't want to waste a bunch of cards to summon some big fusion guy. But what its grave effect is whenever a cubic card leaves the field, period, like whether it returns to your hand or it's sent to the grave or banished or whatever, you can remove this from play from your graveyard and special summon a level 4 or lower cubic monster from your deck, ignoring summoning conditions. So it lets you loop Doozes out and send multiples of these while you link climb, or it can let you go into one of these guys that I was mentioning before, since it ignores summoning conditions. And then you can like crash one of these in and revive like 3 Doozes that you just looped out. And then you can trigger Doozes' other effect to gain attack and stuff too. So this card is really, really good. And then for the last cubic card and cubic trap, we have cubic Ascension. You can activate it when your opponent declares an attack. When they do, you special a Vajam the Cubic Seed from your deck. The attack automatically goes to the Vajam, which that's the one that you can place it in your spell and trap zone and place a cubic counter on the monster. And then its grave effect, which is the important part, is if your opponent controls a monster and you don't, you can banish it from your graveyard, special Vajam the Cubic Seed out of your deck. Then, or out of your hand deck or grave, it doesn't matter. And then, if your opponent's life points are 2,000 or higher more than yours, you can special up to 2 more Vajam the Cubic Seeds at that same time. So this card is really, really good if you're behind. Okay, well that's it for the cubic cards. On to some of the support cards. We have Magician Souls and a Apprentice Illusion Magician. This card, this engine right here is really, really good because it lets you put the spell and traps in grave that you need in grave to combo off with the cubic monsters. So it gives you draw power, it lets you combo off. It's just really, really good. It lets you link climb, for instance, if you have this and Dooza, That's automatic. You just need 2 monsters, including Duza, to combo with the Unification. So this card is exceptional. Next, we have a Summoner Monk. So Summoner Monk is really good in this deck. This card inherently is kind of bad because it loses to a hand trap really quickly. That's why we only play 1. And if you're playing the deck and you're playing on like a budget or something, you could play 3 of these instead of Magician Souls. It's just hand traps hurt this card a lot. That's why I'm opting to only play 1, because it can be a follow-up as well through one of the link monsters that I run.
Yeah, we decided that, you know, this card would be really good, like, just for, like, it can just, you don't, like you were saying earlier, you don't need multiple copies because, you know, hand traps suck against Summoner Monk, but it's really good when it goes off. That card, it literally gives him, like, a plus advantage, like, to start his combos off. And when it's card in his extra deck, y'all will see later on, y'all will see why he run that Summoner Monk. This is there for like a tech issue.
Okay, and for the last part of some of the support monsters, we have Gen X Ally Birdman. This card is so important in this deck because Unification, the trap card, states that whenever a cubic monster leaves the field period, you banish it and summon one out of your deck. So if you summon Duza, and you send a spell or trap to grave, you could send Unification, bounce it for the Birdman, trigger the Unification, and special another one of these out of your deck. And then that's your automatic link climb. Plus that put a Duza in your hand as one of the 3 needed to summon the Dark Cubic World. So this is a really, really good card, and you should always play this card in this deck. Okay, on to some of the support spells. Since we don't run hand traps, we do run Triple Tactics Talent. I'm sure everyone in Yu-Gi-Oh! Knows what this does. It's a ridiculous card. This deck you want to go second because you want to kill people. So this card just helps with that. It's such a great card. If you don't have this, you could also play like Dark Ruler No More, or you might opt in to play like Effect Failures or something. But this card overall is just really, really good. Okay, then we play 3 Foolish Burial Goods. The reason we play this is, like I've explained, all the spells and traps are really good. Karma, you banish it to search a monster. Dharma, you banish it and add a monster from grave to hand. Unification, you banish when a cubic leaves the field and you special out a deck. I mean, all the spell and traps are so good that this card is just a necessity. So, and then we run a 1-for-1. You can get Magician Souls out of deck with it. You can get the Jom out of deck with it if you have the Unification already set up. This card's really good. And then I do play another engine that goes along with this card. And for that engine, we have the Numeron Package. And for the Numeron Package, we run 3 walls. We run 3 walls, 3 network, and 1 column. Everybody should know what this does. This basically puts S0 on the field. The reason for playing this is, even though you want to go second, if you do go first, or if you're forced to go first, you need to have a play to do. And you can consistently open with this and just drop S0 to the field, and it can stall a turn while you get cubics to just kill your opponent. So that is the point in this engine. Okay, and then to go along with that, we do run the Terraforming for Numeron Network, and we do run Mystic Mine, because sometimes, I mean, this card is like, it's a necessary evil because of all the crazy boards that people put out nowadays. So, I mean, you're playing cubics. It's not like we're going to win worlds or nothing like that. So, if you have to play this to build your hand advantage up, to then just drop a bunch of cubics on the field and kill your opponent, that may just be necessary. And then for the last cards I run in the deck is 3 Eldritch the Golden Lord. Everyone should know what this does. You can send a spell or trap from your hand and this card to the graveyard, send a card on the field to the graveyard. It does target, and then you can also, during that turn, you can send a spell or trap you control to the grave, add it to your hand, and special it out, and then increase its attack and defense by 1,000, and it can't die by your opponent's card effects that turn. So this is really good. The Dark Cubic Lord is a level 10. This is a level 10, so that's really good for rank 10 plays. This also can clear stuff off of the field, and it also gets the spells and traps out of your hand, which is what you really want anyways. So this card in general is just really good for this deck. Okay, onto the extra deck. We have, for Link 2s, we run IP Masquerena, we run Nightmare Phoenix, and we run Reproducus. This card is really important because I run Crusadia, not Avermax, and summoning Avermax with this is basically like getting a god card on the field. Highly suggested. We run Phoenix because it's really good to clear back row, and also sometimes if you don't open with a way to discard the spell or trap to the grave, this can help you get there just from the discard effect. And then Reproducus we run because we also, for one of the Link 3s, we run Selene Psychic Magician. So Reproducus is there to make something a spellcaster to go into this because you run Magician Souls and you run the Summoner Monk. So this card is really good and part of the Link climbing in this deck. The other, let's see, the other Link 3 we run since we run the Numeron package is Megaclops. It's just unaffected by anything except Exceeds. Can't die by anything except Exceeds. It's just overall a really good card. And then there's the Avermax we said we ran. And here's access code because the Selene play is just so good in almost any deck. Whether you run Effect Failure, you run Magician Souls or anything, Selene into a spellcaster into access code can be game because this always comes out at 5,300. So that's why we run this. Just extra ways to OTK. For the Numeron package, we run 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we do run the Zexal. You could run multiples of these. There is nothing wrong with that. It's just, as far as trying to maximize your extra deck for the most important things, I only run one set. But I also only run one Numeron calling too. If I ran multiple callings, I would possibly run more of these. But we don't, and like I said, this is mainly for if we have to go first. If you go second, you can kill them, obviously, by just summoning these and OTKing. So there's that. And we run Dugaris. Dugaris is in here because it is really easy to summon rank 4s, and it is really easy to get access code on the field. And when that happens, you double access code's attack to 10,600. And that kills people really quickly.
So this is the play I was talking about with the Summer Month. So usually he would go Summer Month, pitch a spell, get the guy that search, and then he can add, so he can add seed those two to make this guy. And so he having dealt spells or traps, he'll draw 2 cards and discard 1. So it sets up his grave in his hand for bigger plays.
Okay. And then for the last 2 cards in the extra deck, we run Gustav Max. The dealing the extra 2,000 damage is really good when combined with a lot of the other damaging card effects. This can finish your opponent off or set you up where on the end phase the Dark Cubic Lord will finish them off. And this is really easy to summon. Like I said, Golden Lord's level 10, Cubic Lord's level 10, so it's just really easy to summon. And then this card obviously to go on top of this if you get to that point. So yeah, like I said, if y'all want to see his deck profile, leave a like, comment, subscribe. Like I say, he will mind showing his combo, like some combos. He got some 2-card combos. He can show y'all how he OTK his opponent really quick and fast. If y'all new to my channel, on the road to hit 1,000 subscribers. So I'm ready to hit that goal. So once I hit that goal, I'm gonna give us some giveaways. But until then, your boy is out.